Hi, welcome one of the G-BISE course, developed by our AI expert, Claudio Ceballos, and the AI and Technology Division. Let's talk about how this course is structured. It's called Getting Started with AI for Business, and it's designed to run over 4 consecutive days, following a hybrid model. Each day, you'll spend about 2 hours in guided learning, which is divided into 2 or 3 focused blocks. These blocks combine some self-paced pre-work with live instructor-led sessions. Altogether, that's 8 hours of instructional time, plus some additional asynchronous activities for you to work through at your own pace. The main goal of this course is to give participants, like entrepreneurs, startup founders, and business managers, a really practical, conceptual, and hands-on understanding of artificial intelligence. We'll focus especially on generative AI models, such as ChatGPT. The course aims to demystify AI concepts for folks who don't have a technical background, bridge the gap between theory and practice so you can start applying what you learn right away in areas like operations, marketing, and strategy, and encourage a mindset of experimentation and thoughtful adoption of AI tools. By the end, you'll have built a strong enough foundation to spot opportunities for optimization, delegate tasks to AI responsibly, and measure the value it brings to your business context. By the time you finish this course, you'll be able to define artificial intelligence and clearly distinguish it from automation and traditional software systems using solid conceptual frameworks. You'll understand the logic behind large language models and how natural language processing lets you interact with tools like ChatGPT. You'll also be able to apply AI tools to real business tasks, such as drafting communications, refining processes, or generating content, and you won't need any programming knowledge to do it. On top of that, you'll learn how to evaluate and iterate on AI outputs, spotting any limitations, bias, or areas that could use improvement. You'll be able to select the right use cases for AI delegation within your organization or entrepreneurial venture. And finally, you'll design and present a real-world AI-enhanced business solution, showing clear before and after results. This course is really tailored for entrepreneurs and founders who want to boost productivity without hiring more staff, small business owners who are interested in exploring digital transformation in a practical and low-risk way, and startup teams looking to use AI in their daily workflows. It's also great for professionals in non-technical roles who are curious about AI but don't have any formal training in computer science or data science. You don't need any prior knowledge of artificial intelligence to join. That said, you should have some basic digital fluency, like being comfortable with email, web browsing, and document editing, and of course, an active interest in innovation, automation, or making business processes more efficient. Welcome to Day 1. In this session, we'll be laying the groundwork for your journey into artificial intelligence for business. Our course is called Getting Started with AI for Business. This session will last for about 2 hours, and it's designed as a live, online experience supported by some prior asynchronous material. So you'll be joining from wherever you are, virtually using Zoom or a similar platform. By the end of this session, you'll be able to articulate and apply foundational principles of artificial intelligence and natural language processing within business contexts. We're really focusing on generative models, especially large language models like ChatGPT, as tools to augment, not replace, human decision-making, as highlighted by Raish and Krakowski in 2021. And you'll start producing your own prompts, applying what you've learned to real-world business communication. By participating today, you'll be able to define what AI is and what it isn't in accessible language, making sure you can distinguish it from traditional automation and software tools, as explained by Russell and Norvig in 2021. You'll also be able to explain how ChatGPT generates language using token prediction in transformer-based architectures, following the work of Vaswani and colleagues from 2017. Plus, you'll learn to use basic prompt engineering techniques to structure useful interactions with ChatGPT, drawing from Reynolds and McDonald's research in 2021. You'll evaluate the quality, tone, and coherence of AI-generated content, and finally, you'll identify at least one use case for generative AI within your current business workflows, as outlined by Davenport and Ronanke in 2018. Alright, let's get started with the asynchronous preparation. This part should take you about 30 minutes in total. First up, you'll watch a 7-minute explainer video called "What is AI really?" It's a concise look at how artificial intelligence differs from traditional software and automation, and we'll use business analogies. Think of AI as a junior intern trained on trillions of examples. The video itself was actually scripted with ChatGPT and edited in Veed.io. Next, you'll go through a checklist titled "How AI Might Help You Right Now." This 5-minute diagnostic, adapted from case studies by Davenport and Ronanke, helps you identify repetitive, communication-heavy tasks that are perfect candidates for AI augmentation. After that, there's a quick interactive quiz called 5 Myths About AI, which should take about 5 to 7 minutes. It's designed to clear up some common misconceptions about AI's capabilities and risks, drawing on both academic literature and recent media stories. Finally, for those who want to dig a bit deeper, there's an optional 10-minute reading, How ChatGPT Works, a primer. This is a 2-page summary adapted from Jurafsky and Martin's work, giving you a simple conceptual model of how generative AI produces text. Now, let's talk about the structure for our live session, which will run for about 2 hours. We'll start with Block 1, Conceptual Foundations, lasting 30 minutes. The instructional mode here combines a mini lecture with a bit of Socratic dialogue. Our first activity is an icebreaker. If AI could take over one weekly task, you'll be invited to reflect either aloud or in the chat. This is a great way to make things immediately relevant and to kick off a discussion about automation versus augmentation, drawing on the work of Raish and Krakowski. Then we move into a 15-minute mini lecture on what is AI. Here, I'll present foundational definitions of artificial intelligence, contrasting it with rule-based systems and automation. We'll introduce Russell and Norvig's typologies, like reactive versus deliberative systems, and look at some concrete business examples. After that, there's a 10-minute explainer on how ChatGPT works. We'll cover, at a high level, concepts like transformers, attention mechanisms, and next token prediction, drawing from Vaswani and colleagues. It's important to emphasize the distinction between fluency and factuality, which is really critical in business applications. Moving on, let's dive into Block 2, Prompting in Practice, which will take about 45 minutes. The instructional approach here mixes demonstration, hands-on lab work, and peer review. We'll kick things off by introducing the 4-part prompt structure framework from Reynolds and McDonnell: role, task, format, and tone. You'll analyze examples and learn how to scaffold outputs by being more specific and applying constraints. Next, I'll demonstrate 3 variations of a prompt to show how even small changes can affect results. This supports the idea of prompt sensitivity in large language models, as highlighted by OpenAI. After that, you'll get hands-on by drafting a prompt that asks ChatGPT to write a polite email to a late-paying client. The focus here is on calibrating tone and ensuring clarity. 2 areas where AI-generated communication can really shine or, well, sometimes miss the mark. Then you'll share your prompt and the AI's response in breakout rooms or in the chat, evaluating the results together. We'll introduce criteria from Graham and Perrin for assessing written communication, organization, purpose, and tone. Finally, you'll be asked to modify one variable, like tone, role, or output format, and rerun your prompt. This helps build iterative AI literacy and reinforces the principle that AI is most useful when we adapt how we ask. Okay, let's take a moment to reflect. What surprised you about your AI's response? It's important to really unpack these reactions, since both enthusiasm and skepticism are so key to adopting AI responsibly. Now, building on that asynchronous checklist, I'd like you to jot down 1 or 2 recurring tasks in your business where you think ChatGPT might lend a hand. Maybe in copywriting, communication, or planning, just as Davenport and Ronanke suggested back in 2018. Next, let's move into peer exchange. In small breakout groups, you'll discuss possible implementations as well as any limitations you might see. Please offer each other suggestions and reflect on the potential business impact. To wrap up, I'd like to frame your challenge for the week. Pick one real business task to augment with AI before day 2. And don't worry, the prompting cheat sheet will be available to support your experiment. Welcome to day 2, Operations, Communication and Automation. This is part of our course, Getting Started with AI for Business. Today's session will last about 2 hours, and we're meeting live online, building on the materials you covered asynchronously. So, let's get started in our virtual classroom. By the end of this session, you'll be able to apply generative AI, especially ChatGPT, to really optimize your internal operations and communication workflows. We'll introduce techniques for automating those repetitive, time-consuming tasks and structuring business documentation more efficiently, using AI as your productivity co-pilot, just as highlighted by Davenport and Ronanke in 2018. By the end of this session, participants will be able to identify repetitive and low-value tasks that are suitable for AI-supported optimization. They'll also learn how to use ChatGPT to improve documentation and communication, both within and outside their organization. Participants will develop standard operating procedures and onboarding documents using prompt scaffolding techniques. They'll get hands-on experience creating content calendars and automating microtasks to enhance team productivity. Finally, they'll evaluate where human oversight remains essential in AI-assisted communication. For the asynchronous preparation, you'll spend about 25 minutes in total. First, you'll read 10 business tasks AI can improve, which is an 8-minute summary categorizing AI-friendly tasks based on empirical findings from Harvard Business Review by Davenport and Ronanke, published in 2018. Next, you'll complete the My Daily Tasks worksheet, which should take about 10 minutes. This worksheet, adapted from Sweller's cognitive load theory, encourages you to list and prioritize your tasks by complexity, frequency, and automation potential. And if you have a few extra minutes, there's an optional 5-minute video tutorial called AI for Admin 3 Quick Examples. It shows how messy notes can be transformed into structured documents using prompt design and GPT-4. In this 40-minute block on operational optimization, we'll use a mix of guided review, instructor demonstration, and self-application. First, in the task mapping activity called Where Do You Lose Time? You'll review your completed worksheets to spot bottlenecks and those cognitively heavy repetitive tasks. We'll frame these using the low complexity, high frequency quadrant from Davenport and Ronanke, 2018. Next, during the instructor demo, you'll see how a weekly to-do list can be generated from raw goals using prompt chaining. The prompts are structured by following the Reynolds and McDonald 2021 framework for clarity in role, task, format, and tone. Then, in the hands-on portion, you'll feed your own task data into ChatGPT to produce a structured plan. You'll get to experiment with categorization, like admin, strategic and creative, and with deadline logic. Finally, we'll wrap up with a group reflection called What Surprised You? In this open discussion, we'll talk about how the AI prioritized or formatted tasks, and I'll introduce the concept of cognitive offloading from Risco and Gilbert, 2016, exploring how AI can help reduce working memory strain. In this section, we'll focus on communication and documentation, which is, honestly, such a vital area for any business. Over the next 50 minutes, we'll dive into a few activities using prompt libraries, document engineering, and of course, peer feedback. First up, I'll introduce 3 reusable prompt templates, all based on guidance from OpenAI in 2023. These are rewriting a support message, converting meeting notes into action items, and drafting onboarding instructions. After that, you'll get hands-on experience by taking a real or fictional support message and using ChatGPT to adjust its tone and structure. This activity draws on writing clarity principles from Graham and Perrin, 2007. Next, we'll move to a workshop where you'll select a document, like an onboarding checklist or an internal SOP, and ask ChatGPT to generate a usable version. This really models the externalization of tacit knowledge, as described by Nonaka and Takeuchi in 1995. Finally, you'll participate in a peer review, comparing outputs and critiquing clarity, tone, and factuality. Here we'll re-emphasize the importance of human review in AI-assisted documentation. Now, let's shift gears to productivity and micro-automation, which will take about 30 minutes. We'll use instructor-led demos, a sprint, and some applied reflection. To start, I'll demonstrate how you can take a handful of unstructured content ideas and turn them into a lightweight 5-day content calendar using zero-shot prompting and format constraints, as outlined by Wei and colleagues in 2022. Then, you'll move into a sprint where you'll pick a micro-task you often repeat, like replying to direct messages or summarizing emails, and build 2 prompt variations. You'll compare the outcomes and assess their reliability. To wrap up, we'll have an open discussion and a bit of journaling, where you'll choose one AI-assisted habit to test before day 3. It's a great way to spot those little time savers in your week. Welcome to day 3, where our focus is on marketing, sales, and strategy with AI. This session is part of the course Getting Started with AI for Business and will be led by our AI instructor. We'll spend the next 2 hours together in a live online setting with some prior asynchronous material to support your learning. Our classroom is virtual, so just make sure you're ready on Zoom or whichever platform we're using today. By the end of this session, participants will be able to deploy AI tools, particularly ChatGPT, to improve their marketing copy, repurpose business content, simulate customer or competitor insights, and co-develop strategic narratives. The emphasis is placed on AI-augmented creativity, as discussed by Lubat in 2005, and lightweight decision support, based on the work of Davenport, Guha, Gruel, and Brescott from 2020. Participants will first use AI to improve or adapt existing marketing materials for new channels or audiences. Second, they'll repurpose long-form content into multiple formats, such as emails, LinkedIn posts, or short videos. Third, you'll simulate basic competitor or persona insights using prompt frameworks. Fourth, you'll refine your value proposition and messaging using iterative prompting. And finally, you'll evaluate the opportunities and limitations of AI in strategic business thinking. For your asynchronous preparation, which should take about 25 to 30 minutes, you'll start with a reading titled AI in Marketing and Positioning. This takes about 7 minutes and summarizes research from the AMA and McKinsey in 2022 on how generative AI transforms branding and outreach. Next, you'll complete a Canvas value proposition map, which takes around 10 minutes. Adapted from Strategizer by Osterwalder and colleagues in 2014, this visual framework helps you define customer segments, pains, gains, and value elements. Finally, you'll watch a video called Repurposing with ChatGPT, which is about 5 to 7 minutes long. It walks you through transforming a blog post into 3 formats: a newsletter, a tweet thread, and a cold email, using few-shot prompting, as described by Wei and others in 2022. In this session, we're going to dive into optimizing marketing copy. First, we'll deconstruct 3 marketing prompt templates, taking a closer look at how they impact clarity and persuasion. We'll really focus on how tailoring your message's tone to your audience can make all the difference, as highlighted by OpenAI in 2023. Next, you'll get hands-on, choose a landing page or product description and rework it with ChatGPT, aiming for stronger positioning, a clearer call to action, and a more engaging emotional tone, drawing on principles from Fogg's behavior model 2009. Then, we'll practice repurposing a single text block, like a blog or email, into 2 different formats, maybe a LinkedIn post and a WhatsApp summary. This is a key tactic for lean marketing teams, as noted by Davenport and colleagues in 2020. Finally, you'll partner up to discuss which version is stronger, focusing on readability, tone, and relevance for your target audience. Now, let's shift to strategy and decision support. We'll start by simulating a customer persona or a competitor overview using ChatGPT. This exercise draws from persona building methods by Blank in 2013 and value-based strategy theory. After that, you'll refine your own positioning statement with the help of AI, using the structure from Day 2's value proposition map. You're encouraged to iterate with multiple tones and formats, following guidance from Reynolds and McDonnell, 2021. Next, you'll test your strategic narrative, asking ChatGPT to act as a critical reader and point out anything that could confuse a new customer. This supports critical thinking and anticipatory framing, as described by Kahneman and Klein in 2009. To wrap up, we'll have a reflective discussion about what AI can and cannot do strategically, referencing the automation augmentation paradox highlighted by Reisch and Krakowski in 2021. Finally, we'll align on your capstone project. First, I'll review the final challenge. You'll select a real business task, like onboarding, marketing, or reporting, and present an AI-augmented before and after version on day 4. Then, you'll join a small group for coaching, where you'll pitch your project, get feedback, and maybe pick up some prompt ideas or tools from your peers. To close, you'll document your chosen challenge and commit to what you'll optimize this week, so you're ready to build on it before our next session. Welcome to Day 4, where we focus on synthesis, reflection, and forward planning. Today marks the final session of our course, Getting Started with AI for Business. Over the next 2 hours, in this live online session, you'll be building on the asynchronous material you've already covered. So, let's get ready to bring everything together and look ahead. By the end of this final session, you will be able to present and evaluate a real task that you optimized using ChatGPT, articulate the lessons you've learned throughout the course, and build a concrete plan for sustainable and responsible AI use within your business context. This session, combines experiential learning with reflective practice, giving you the chance to consolidate and share what you've learned, and also to establish long-term habits for applied AI augmentation. Today, participants will present a real-world business task that they've optimized using generative AI, including a before and after comparison. You'll assess the quality, efficiency, and reliability of AI-generated outcomes, and importantly, provide and receive constructive peer feedback using clear criteria. You'll also articulate both the limits and opportunities for integrating AI into your workflows, and finally, draft a personalized action plan for sustained AI-supported work. Let's dive in and make the most of this final session together. Alright, so for this asynchronous preparation session, you'll have about 20 to 30 minutes. First, you'll spend 15 to 20 minutes finalizing your optimization challenge. That means you'll wrap up the business task you've rewritten or improved with ChatGPT, whether that's a proposal, a response, a standard operating procedure, or maybe even an onboarding email. Be sure to include the prompts you used and jot down some reflections on how useful you found the process. Next, take about 5 minutes to review your prompt logs and course notes from days 1 through 3. This is just to refresh your memory and get ready for your presentation. And if you have a few extra minutes, there's an optional reading, AI Habits for Entrepreneurs, adapted from Davenport and Mittal's case studies. It's a quick read that outlines 3 sustainable practices. Start small, experiment often, and review critically. Now, moving on to the final presentations. This block will take about 60 minutes and is all about peer showcase and structured feedback. To start, each participant or team will have about 45 minutes in total to present their before and after results from the AI optimization challenge. You'll walk through your initial task or workflow, the AI prompts you used, a comparison between your original and AI-enhanced version, and finally, your reflections on the outcome, things like accuracy, tone, and usefulness. Feedback will be given using a simple rubric that looks at clarity, impact, effort, and the potential for real-world use, drawing from Gibbs framework. After all the presentations, we'll have a 15-minute group debrief. I'll facilitate a meta-discussion where we look at which types of tasks showed the greatest transformation and what patterns we noticed in successful prompting. This collective reflection is really valuable for learning from each other, as Brookfield has shown. And now, let's talk about planning for future use. This 30-minute block is focused on guided planning and ideation. For the next 20 minutes, you'll use a template to draft your own simple AI integration plan. That should include 3 repeatable tasks you'll delegate to ChatGPT, your weekly AI review moment, and any guardrails or checklists you'll use to verify the outputs from AI. This activity is grounded in habit formation models and tool fluency frameworks, so it's designed to help you build sustainable practices. Finally, we'll wrap up with an open share. For about 10 minutes, you'll be invited to talk about one AI use case you're excited to try out after the course. The idea here is to shift your mindset from just using AI once in a while to making ongoing experimentation a regular part of your workflow. Alright, so let's bring everything together. Over the past few days, we've built a solid foundation, starting with the basics and prompts on day 1, then moving into operations and communication on day 2. On day 3, we explored marketing and strategy, and finally, we wrapped up with reflection and planning on day 4. Now, as we close, I want to highlight some of the tensions you'll encounter when using AI, balancing fluency with careful fact-checking, weighing automation against meaningful augmentation, and of course, the importance of developing strong prompting literacy, as Reynolds and McDonald pointed out back in 2021. Next, you'll receive your final resource, a curated AI Toolkit PDF. Inside, you'll find 15 tested prompt templates, a handy guide to prompt structure, links to some of my favorite recommended AI tools, both free and freemium, and an evaluation checklist to help you assess your AI outputs. And before we go, I'd like you to take a moment for an exit reflection. Using digital post-its or a shared board, jot down just one thing you'll do differently in your workflow or mindset as a result of this course. This is your reflective anchor, a way to make your learning stick, as Moon described in 2004. Thank you all for your participation and engagement. To foster a respectful, effective, and immersive learning environment, all participants are expected to adhere to the following terms and expectations. These guidelines ensure that each member of the cohort can benefit fully from the experience and contribute meaningfully to the collective learning process. First, let's talk about participation commitments. Cameras should be kept on during live sessions unless otherwise agreed with the instructor. This really helps promote presence, engagement, and of course, community accountability. Sessions will begin promptly at the scheduled time, so please try to join at least 5 minutes early to resolve any technical issues. Late arrivals beyond 10 minutes may be marked as absent unless previously communicated. Also, participants are expected to avoid unnecessary interruptions during sessions. Please mute your microphone when not speaking and use the raise hand feature or chat to ask questions respectfully. Now, regarding attendance policy, participants may miss no more than 1 live session without prior agreement. If more than 2 sessions are missed, participation in the capstone presentation on day 4 and course certification may be withheld. The full benefits of the course, including live feedback, coaching, and access to instructor support, expire 5 days after the final session. After this date, participation is considered closed. No refunds or make-up options will be granted after 24 hours from the start of the course, unless due to documented emergencies or force majeure. This policy ensures fairness and sustainability for all enrolled learners. Finally, each participant is required to sign a digital participation agreement before the start of day 1. This agreement confirms that the participant understands and accepts the expectations outlined above, including the attendance and camera policy, expiration of access to instructor-led components, the no refund policy after course initiation, and consent to engage respectfully and collaboratively. Participants will be asked to sign this agreement electronically via the designated platforms such as DocuSign, Google Form, or the LMS system.